Alrighty, so, hey guys, I know there's a bunch of people at the store championship at 5 champions from face to face. There are some people online in Discord who want to see this deck, want to see how I came up with the idea or whatever. So this is going to be House Martell, Lord of the Crossing. Played it today at the store championship, went 2-2, but my 2 losses were to 2 people who made top 4, so I think I'm really happy with the way the deck turned out. I am probably going to refine it a little more, but as it stands, I think it's a very good idea. With me, I've got my buddy Jeff, aka qqGreyGoose.
Hello.
And we're just going to go over the deck, like card slot per card slot, and just go over our thoughts on the dude and the card and how it played out through the day. So first thing, obviously, Lord of the Crossing is on the screen right now because it is kind of the pivotal card in the deck. It's the agenda. It's where you start. So for those who don't know, it's on screen, but basically your first challenge, all your dudes are weak. Your third challenge, all your dudes are strong. And if you win, you gain power. The combat math, anything that messes with combat math, in my opinion, is something that is awesome. Anything that makes your opponent hesitate and have to reconsider or whatever, just get them playing on terms where they're not really at home, they're not really comfortable. Just turn the tides that way, just chip away slowly or just go in for the kill. But yeah, again, play on your terms and not theirs. And I'm playing this out of Martell. I don't have Martell up, but I think they get, like, there are options. Greyjoy, you don't care how much you win by if it's unopposed. Tyrell has so many ways to offset the negatives, but I think Martell already has enough incentive to lose challenges as is that you don't feel bad about throwing in a little 2 strength down to 1 strength chud for a small challenge, and then they're like, okay, either I block and you trade up, or they let it go and you just got unopposed with a little 1 guy. Or they stuff the challenge somehow, and whatever, no big deal. They do that on your small one, who cares? So, I'm just gonna start with, go right into it with the characters. So, forgive the formatting, I don't have super on-the-fly stuff, but we are going to start. Right, first thing I need to do is fix the sub-region. Okay, and start with Mr. Ario Hota, 2 of, because this guy is awesome when paired with somebody who we will be getting to in a second, Ariane Martell. I don't know how many times I have done the play Ariane, and then during a challenge, whether I'd already used her or not, just use her. Don't even pay for the ambush, it's just bring Hota in, bounce Ariane back to hand, and then use his trigger to kick someone out of a challenge. I used that against Asha more than once to prevent her from standing. I think this guy is underrated. My only dislike for him right now is he's a 3 cost, which means First Snow of Winter will go back to your hand. Well, no, that's not really a dislike, because you'll replay Ariane and then you'll have a reload on Hota, so never mind, I take that back. Jeff, your thoughts?
I just wonder if we need 2 in the deck. Out of all the characters and their numbers, there's one more that I question having 2 of, but yeah, Ariel, I think since we'll be talking about the plots later on, but since you're running summons, there's so many cards you can get. He's an answer.
Yeah, to be honest, I really only used him as with Ariane. He never hits play on his own. I think I mulliganed a hand where he was gonna get set up for hopes of getting something better. Fortunately, I did, but Yeah, no, I agree. Like, if outside of his little trick, he is not very good, and the ambush cost on him, I would say, is almost prohibitively high. Like, I would never play him as ambush unless I was absolutely required to, or had a ton of money through like calling the banners or something. But no, like he really is only in there as the like the one trick pony with Ariane, and maybe dropping to one of might not be a bad idea, but it did work. Like it kind of contributes strongly to the game. I don't know if it's a recency bias, but I don't know if I want to get rid of him just yet. There's definitely a case to be made. I agree, but
And there's a lot of cards, maybe not characters, that you might want to have three of, and there's actually an attachment that you don't have that I'd like to see in the deck, especially since you need attachments to stop
yeah,
Plasma Punishment and all Greyjoy.
Yeah, no, raiding Longship is definitely the reason I lost to Throne Runner in the final round. So maybe you're right. I don't know. Could be recency bias, but no, I think the next version of this deck will probably have more attachments. But like again, we're reviewing the one that I ran.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's Hotel. I think that's about all we can say about him. Next one, to the surprise of no one, is Ariane Martell. I am running 2 of her. Awesome. Even without her ability, I think everything on her is fine. 5 cost, 4 strength, the 2 important icons, lady trait, so cheaper with noble cause. I think this hits all the right spots. And then the ability to use her in a challenge, and then use her action to bring her back to hand and drop something else to use again I think it's just gravy. It's so good.
Yeah, there's no arguing about Ariane. She does work, and you got enough producers that you can play her.
Maybe the only argument is, do you want to go up to 3? I don't know if I'd go to 3, but she does work. Alright. Next character, the Bastard Daughter at 3 of. I think this is a no-brainer.
It's awesome.
Cheap. It's cheap. It's a military icon. It's an intrigue challenge on death. It is a sand snake. You are running Martell. Nymeria was the best card of the second chapter pack. Was that Road to Winterfell? I don't even remember what it's called.
Yeah.
Yes, Road to Winterfell. I would argue best card out of that pack. No brainer. Nymeria shows up in the deck later, obviously. So no, Bastard Daughter is a 3 of in. I would honestly say 3 of in every Martell deck until it rotates. And non-loyal, so you bring her into banner as well. Yeah, nothing really needs to be said. 3 Desert Scavenger.
Yeah, again,
nothing really needs to be said.
That.
Yeah, it's your reducer you will want. Dornish Paramour, I'm running 2. I am also running 2 Noble Lineage and 1 Sirio 4L. So Paramour has the opportunity to become a Tricon, which means you can pull any one character you want into the challenge. It kind of sucks when your opponent has Robert Baratheon with a Lightbringer, because you do not want to pull anyone into a challenge at that point. But no, there is... yeah, no, she's awesome. She did work all day. And I don't think there's any argument against running her because the power she brings.
And you might even want to grab her with summons.
I think I actually did summons for her one game.
She's just that good.
Yeah. I know I definitely picked one up with a green blood trader and was very happy to see it. Yeah, again, nothing more really needs to be said. Dornish Paramore, amazing card. Gets better with Noble Lineage, gets better with Serial Pharrell. Edric Dane. I don't like the guy, but I can't deny that the Tricon option is very good, and that the stealth is fantastic. I still don't like him, but he is a necessary character in the deck. Stealth just works too well. Your thoughts?
He's another character that I might drop to do 1. Yes, you're happy when you might be happy when you get 1, but it's not a character you need to dupe. And honestly, I might, depending on the board state, you might go to claim, because I don't really care that much about him. You might be slightly better with Dawn in the deck, especially if you're running Alice Day Knights, but... oh,
I am definitely running House Day Knights. But
yeah,
I'm not running Dawn.
You ran with 2 of them today, but he's someone that I would consider cutting by a 1, especially if you want to get a 3rd Ariane, or if you want to get something else.
Yeah.
The 3 up in the deck.
Right. Yep. No, I think that's what needs to be said about him. If I do replace him, I think it would be with something that evens out my icon spread a bit more, because there were a couple scenarios where having the flexibility on icons was definitely useful. So maybe just on that alone, he might still have a slot, but don't like him. Not a fan of him. Necessary in the deck. They're necessary the way I played it anyway. I didn't build.
Get a second Serial instead of a second Edric.
Maybe.
I don't know if the cost difference is an issue.
Not really, but yeah, no, you do bring up the cost issue. Edric is awesome on setup.
Mm-hmm.
That's really it. Okay. Green Blood Trader. Add a 2 of. This has saved my bacon. I also had the mistake of playing one on setup. I should have played a reducer instead and then used the reducer to play the trader. It didn't matter. That game ended up being very one-sided regardless. I think I pulled out a turn 4 win against Tommy with this. It does not seem very rushy. It seems to take a bit of time to get established, but I got like all the right pieces when I needed them. And yeah, no, it was crazy. But yeah, no, that ability is fantastic. The one that stands out to me was hitting Trader on... I got Paramore and Varys was in the dead pile. So yeah, no, that was an easy choice. Can't say no. Just Green Blue Trader. Cheap. Awesome.
Yeah.
A lot of no-brainers.
That's perfect numbers too.
Yeah.
Because if you got 3, you might screw up your starting hand.
Yeah.
Like you said, you don't want to set her up.
Right. Alrighty. So we'll go over to High Dan 3 House Day Night. I think of all the cheap dudes I'm running, this is the guy I wanted 3 of because of the Bicon.
Yeah, and with Noble Heritage, it becomes a Tricon, and
yeah,
a bad idea. Especially good with Lord of Crossing, because you swing for one on your first challenge, and who cares if you lose?
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. He is the ideal guy for my initial challenge because he still has strength. Like, I can't swing with Edric first challenge. Well, I can, but he's strength 0. Anyone smart will just let it go. And it's on a no, there's no power, there's no strength, nothing happens. At least this guy, they do have a decision to make. So yeah, no, House Dane. I'm not running Dawn. He could use it otherwise, but I'm not really playing the long game. Just by playing the long plan, but yeah. Anyway. Next guy. Senor Finger. I have 2 of him. I was very happy to have 2 of him. His reaction on draw, or his reaction on Marshall to draw cards, and the income was very, very useful. I think I was saying earlier how I had fully intended turn 1 Noble Cause with a Red Viper in hand, and then I drew into Littlefinger and decided to play him instead. Just the extra money, the 2 cards, the fact that I didn't have to throw Red Viper out turn 1 and risk like an early milk ruining my day.
Yeah, he's been the go-to character since when the quarters came out. Just good.
I think 2 is the right spot for him. I don't know. I wouldn't want 3, but I'd want more than 1. So by default, I'll run 1.5 Littlefingers.
Yeah. Next card is probably the second best card of the deck.
You think? I like him.
I've loved this character ever since I started playing him in my banner in the Night's Watch.
Yeah, no, Kaliot is huge.
And especially when you throw on, you give him the stealth and military icon from Serial.
Yeah, no, he becomes a Tricon with that, but why do you give him stealth? What I like to do, actually maybe more so than House Dane Knight as my first challenge, is Maester Kaliot as my first challenge. It's like, oh, Intrigue of 1.
The reason I do that is because you can't stealth back past him, so you can always defend and...
Yeah, no, if you're going second, then yeah, I'd see him as... Yeah, you make him a Tricon with stealth, so like they swing into you, he is blocking, and you will trigger his reaction.
But you're right, if you're attacking, having him attack first is always...
yeah. No, this guy has done work. He is... I would almost consider running Here to Serve in the deck just to make sure I can get him out. Like, even in an agenda where it's not bannering, you only have Maester Kaliot, and there's a case to be made to run Here to Serve because this guy does so much work in the deck. Alrighty. Are we following that up with your favorite character in the deck?
Nymeria is pretty fun. Yes.
I'm getting texts from Rob St. John. Oh yes, I will take this time to say congratulations to Rob St. John for winning the 5 Champions Store Championship that I brought this to. He avenged me quite well. My first loss was to Norm, who played Barafealty, and he ended up losing in the finals to Rob. So thank you, Rob, for making sure he didn't win the whole thing. Congratulations, Rob, for winning the whole thing. But you can slow down now. It's been 3 store champs. He's up. Anyway, Nymeria's End. Fantastic. So good.
Synergizes with your Sand Snakes in the deck.
Yep. And always a no-con, because worst case, noble lineage on her gives her a power icon and saves you from raiding Longship or Plaza or other fun stuff. Yeah, no, I think she's okay at 2.
Yes, you don't want 3.
Alrighty, so next is maybe one of the more questionable spots on the deck. Obara Sand as a 2 of.
I like the character.
No, I'm not going to deny that. I really like her. She has excellent presence, is good military, and defends while kneeling on power, and is a sand snake.
It might be my past as a Night's Watch player bannering Sun, where I just want to oppose. The reason why I like her so much, she can defend 2 different attacks with her.
Yeah.
But
no, she's really awesome.
She's and like you said, you can give her an icon. So even if they take away the military, you can give her a second military, or give her whatever else you want to.
Yep. But yeah, no, I really like Obara. She does work. She was good. The next card is something that was initially a 3 of, but dropped down to 2 to make room for the second Obara. With the meta the way it is, before First Snow of Winter comes out, there's a case to be made. Once First Snow comes out, Palace Spearman becomes one of the best characters in the game. I just realized this guy has no attachments. I had someone put a fishing net on him. It was entirely inconsequential, but all the same, it may have been if they would have put it on someone else instead, so... Alright.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing about him. You can't throw on any weapons even, so... he's... As a second player, he's, like you said, the best character by the next chapter pack.
Yep. Well, best outside of the obvious uniques that are...
Yeah. Even better than some uniques.
Yeah,
honestly.
yeah.
Because of the cost, you wouldn't mind throwing down... If you have a 2-card setup, this is probably the best you could do with 2 of them.
Yep. No, this guy becomes a 3 of once First Snow hits, guaranteed. Yeah. So, almost through characters. Next guy is Mr. Serial Farrell. As a 1 of, I think this might be a spot where he could maybe go up to 2. When he showed up, he did work. I know I'm saying that a lot, but no, he really impacted. From the moment he hits the board, giving someone stealth was huge. Giving away a military icon to make Kiliot a Tricon, or to give Nymeria an icon outside of what she steals, or to give Paramore an icon to bring in something like a Robert Baratheon or a Stannis is huge. I can't cut this guy. I can only see him going up, maybe to 2.
You can give an icon to Ariane. You can give it to Dornish, Edric, and Maester Kiliot. There's so many characters that can benefit from stealth and a military icon in this deck that I think having a second one would probably be a good idea.
Alrighty. Yeah, no, can't say it enough. This guy.
Yeah.
The fact that you give stealth is fantastic. Most other houses don't even care about the icon, but it actually helps a lot. You get a lot of mileage out of that. Alrighty. So, next character. Maybe a surprise to some, should not be a surprise in this deck. The Red Viper. I really like the guy. I mean, I got the Martell playmat. Looks awesome. But this guy is, oh boy, in Lords of the Crossing. Oh my god.
You swing with him the third attack, and you're, since he's a Tricon, you're swinging your third attack with the icon that's most common
on your side, yeah.
On your side, and you're getting +2 for each and every one of those characters. So it's not just a +2 to the challenge; it's +2 per character.
Yeah, no, that is the big kicker with this deck, and I think might actually be one of the reasons this deck kind of works. Red Viper is just so much better with Lord. Oberyn Martell is the Lord of the Crossing. I don't give a shit. Get out of here, Walder Frey. Red Viper is, oh my god. On the third challenge, he's 9 by himself. You bring anyone else with him, and that's 12. Because you don't have 0 strength characters, whatever. Oh my god. And he's a Tricon. Like, if you are stuck using him on defense, it's not even that bad, because he is probably going to successfully defend whatever challenge he goes in. Oof. No, this guy. I think the least power I ever got out of his ability, other than when I swung alone, and when I still get 1, was 3 power off of his ability. So good. So fucking good. Like, 7 cost. He's not Tywin. He's not Robert. But in this deck, oh my god. So good. And last character slots. 2, no one's surprise. The Eunuch. Varys. Didn't see... I think he only hit the board once in my games. No, twice. I played him once and then he got 8. And then played him again and reset the board against Throne Runner, which bought me a lot of time. Like, I ended up losing the game, what was it, like 15-4? But against Greyjoy Fealty, taking them to plot 7, was it 7 or 8?
7.
Plot 7 against Fealty, who got a good start. I think the fact that I was able to delay it that much, it really depended. Like, he got his second Balin after the Varys, but had I been able to get like if I would have been able to get Viper and he didn't have Balin or something, then it could have been a completely different game. But coulda, woulda, shoulda. Can't really speculate on that. I am not the guy who will claim a win after losing to something you didn't see at the time.
Yeah, so you choose enough.
No,
in this deck.
I don't think I want to run 3.
No, because you ideally you only want to reset once with this deck, because you'd have too much of a hard time coming back after a second reset, let alone a third reset. Because you don't have enough draw to support that. Yeah.
Yep. No, I agree with that. All right, so that's it for characters. That's 34. I think it's a decent spot to be in. Now the setup is going to get a little wonky because I need to resize something for... no, I don't have to resize. Never mind, I'm okay. The next card being played. First of the attachments. Certainly not the least. To Attainted. Oh my god, I love this card.
Yes, it's one of the main reasons why I think we can even consider making this deck, having this permanent icon removal.
Well, permanent. I mean, I rarely used it in a permanent manner, but it turns on Tears of Liss, and it goes back to your hand. I mean,
Yeah.
Confinement is already an amazing card that you can use to turn on Tears of Bliss, but that's a 2-for-1. This makes it a 1-for-1. And repeatable, you can kind of get a 2-for-2 later if you have another Tears. Like, this keeps working. Can't say enough good things about this card. There was a little corner case where I would have liked to attach it to my own Nymeria, just in order to have an attachment to bypass a long ship, but it is opponent's character only. But no, it's a fantastic card. It really helps. Next card is, let's go back to this. Select region. Oops. This guy. A Singleton Milk of the Poppy. In the mirror match, I do not want Nymeria doing anything. There are still a few characters that have problematic abilities. Stannis is one of them. I put this on an Asha to prevent the restand, and it was pretty awesome. I don't know, I tried playing no attachments for a while, but I think the way the game is now, there are enough characters that give this deck a hard time where you would absolutely want them milked. But it's not a thing where it's like, oh, you run 3 of in every deck because it shuts off characters. Like, I've seen people play this on Tywin. It's like, okay, instead of being a strength 10 Tricon, he's a strength 6 Tricon. And it's like, oh, you shut off the 2 gold. It's Lannister. They don't care. Your thoughts, Milk?
It's one of the cards I'm iffy on. I understand why it's there. Nymeria, Balin. Actually, I think it's good for Euron as well. Less for his renown and pillage, more for his reaction.
Yeah.
I had a game today where my opponent grabbed my King's Road like 3 times. So
Tommy?
Yes.
Oh, he grabbed my Gaston Grey 2 or 3 times.
So, yeah. The reaction is strong.
Yeah.
You might even want to use it on a few other characters. Marjorie makes her...
Yeah, makes Marjorie useless.
And, yeah. But, I think it's correct at 1. I would not get more than 1.
I like it at 1. Yeah, I know that game against Tommy, like where he stole my Gaston Grey 2 or 3 times. It's like, well, I had the milk. I played it on Asha. I think it was the right call to stop that restand.
Yeah.
Especially since he was playing double sneak attack.
Yes.
So the fact that he was... I question the decision, really, but the fact that he was not able to get 2 characters back on the defense was, like, let me win. Because I was able to, like, alright, small intrigue, small military, huge power, and then get my 3-4 power for, like, unopposed and Lords of the Crossing right there. Mm-hmm. Alright, enough about this guy. On to Noble Lineage. Anything that gives icons to stand snakes is awesome. Initially only in the deck for Paramore to be able to bring in pretty well. The big characters that you want to bring in with Paramore, the ones that don't have an intrigue icon, will probably have a power icon. So this lets you hit everything else. Amazing on setup. But also turns on Nymeria. Give it to House Day Knight, he becomes a Tricon. And he's pretty well claim soak as well, so it's awesome even temporarily.
And it's good. It is conditioned, so
yeah,
be removed. But for exactly the reasons you're saying, this is why it's good. I'd like to see a serious training maybe um,
Maybe.
as an attachment. Um, in the version I'll be building, I'll have a serious training as well.
Yeah.
Um, but
Well, yeah, no, this. I think this might be the deck I'm running for this for the foreseeable future. So yeah, no, there will be some little tweaks here and there just to see how things go. So yeah, no, I can definitely give it a shot with maybe less lineage, more serious training, or add serious training, or what have you. But no, like there is definitely a case to be made for serious training.
from your version, I'd be cutting 2 cards, um, one Aereo and one um, Edric for one uh, Zero's training and one Zero Pharrell.
Yep. No, I can absolutely see that. Alrighty.
Yeah. So I think that's it for the attachments.
Yeah, no, that is definitely it for the attachments. Go on to locations. I think one of the locations will be maybe a surprise, but no. Reducer, 3 of. Maybe down to 2 to free up on limited? I don't know. I'm hearing a lot of people say King's Road is where you should cut limiteds, but I don't know.
I agree. King's Roads, most of my decks I use 2.
Yeah.
And cutting a King's Road opens up a spot in case you want one more another attachment or um, another event, or if you want to get a Sun Spear.
Yeah. Nah, I didn't really like Sunspear in here. I don't.
Yeah, you probably don't need it.
I don't particularly care about that. I don't even remember. Is it increase the claim on after you lose a challenge? Increase the claim on it when you do it.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah.
When you're defending, um, as if you're second player, when you're defending, you can raise the claim value of
Yeah.
whatever you lost.
Yeah. No, that was a very early cut in my deck building. No, Blood Orange Grove. It's yeah. Since we're talking about them, let's just get 3 Kings and 3 Rose Road out of the way. I think those are no surprise to anyone that they are going to be in the deck. Like, there is still the discussion of what do you cut, where do you cut, but no, early enough draft, I do want to have that option. But 2 Gaston Grey. No one bounces like Gaston. Has saved my bacon. My game against Norm Barafealty was lengthened considerably by me having Gaston Grey on the board. He had Bob with Bodyguard and Lightbringer. I had Gaston Grey. Bob was relegated to dominant spot. It ensured he won dominance every turn, but he was not participating in any challenges. For good reason. And again, whatever. Anything that forces your opponent to reconsider the way they play the game is a win in my book. Take them out of their comfort zone and just jab away at them from that. Just the threat of activation is where it's at.
Yeah, any character that has renown and you've spent time to and you've got 2 or 3 renown in the character, you don't want to lose.
Yeah. So. And I'll have to tweak my view again a little bit, but One of Boneway. In testing, just the one of was... I wouldn't run it at more than one, honestly. Like, it's awesome, because, again, it's another card that changes the way the game is played, but it's so unassuming at first. It's like, oh, 6 challenges, whatever. But then, my approach with this Martell Lord of the Crossing is probably intentionally losing the first 2 challenges each turn, just to build up to that third one. So, it's something that the opponent will soon realize is like, oh shit, this is a real threat. It didn't come up at all today. I still like it as a one-of. Thoughts?
Having played against it, I think it's great.
Mm-hmm. Having been on the receiving end of
exactly
a bone win.
It's you need to consider every attack, because going up to 6 is very quick. So you'll let your opponent win stuff that you wouldn't normally let the opponent win, because you don't want this opponent to get the 6 charges.
Mm-hmm. It's just so unassuming too. Like 6 is a big number. Until 2 turns later, it's probably at 3 or 4 already, if not. And yeah, no, it's just, I love it. But it's not a card I want to see more than one of. And it's not a card I'm going to build a deck around. It's nice to have, but it's not critical to the deck. I think that's why it stays a one of. Alrighty, that's it for locations. Rest goes over to events, which means I need to reconfigure that. So, events. First event, to the surprise of absolutely no one, is Confinement, because this card makes Martell. This is the quintessential Martell card. Maybe the only argument is whether or not I run 3.
You could potentially run 3. I don't know.
I think running 3 is just a slippery slope to, well, if I'm running that many attachment, or if I'm running 3 confinements compared with all the other events in-house that I'm running, should I be running Shadow Black Lane, which means I should gear my deck more towards power challenges. I should gear my deck with more events in faction in order to benefit from the Shadow Black, so you don't whiff on it. I think it's just slippery, so I think 2 is fine where it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the effect, it's Confinement. It's always going to be good.
Endorn's Name is it's a good card. I don't know if you were able to use that all today.
Oh, was I ever able to use this? Turn 2. This is turn 1, Attainted Tears of Bliss. Turn 2, Attainted on Melisandre. And my opponent plays Scene in Flames. I am sitting on 1 gold for the Tears of Bliss. And then I'm like, oh, well, I absolutely do not want to show him my hand, so I am going to Hand's Judgment that Scene in Flames. And then he's like, okay, thank God you can't Tears now. And then I proceed to play a turn 2 Endorn's Name for 1 gold to get Tears of Bliss out and kill Melisandre.
That's great.
Other than that, used it on a long plan turn to get more gold the next turn, and then 12 gold turned into Red Viper and other stuff, which was quickly met with Stannis. And yeah, that was the end of that. Stannis will wreck this deck's day. But yeah, no, Dorn's name, 2. I like it. I don't know if I'd go down to 1. It's not killer. It might be nice for dominance swing and a pitch, but I don't find myself marshalling until I'm broke anyway. So I'm not sure if I need to run just the 1, or if even at all, but it was nice to have in this corner case. I'm just worried recency bias, confirmation bias, that it ends up staying in the deck because of that one instance where it was awesome.
Yeah, it could be a case where you cut the Dorn's name for a 3rd confinement and a 3rd Hand's Judgment. It's a place testing will be needed.
No, definitely. Alrighty. Next card. 3 Tears of Bliss. The main kill condition in the deck, the main kill card. And I don't think there's any reason to run less than 3. I would love to run more than 3 were that legal. I don't think there's anything that needs to be said. There's so many ways to get an intrigue challenge through in this deck that you want the tears. Most of the characters you want to kill, conveniently enough, do not have an intrigue icon. Yeah, no, like, nothing needs to be said. It's Tears of Bliss.
And then it's Hand Judgment. I mean,
and yeah, last but not least, to the hands. Whoa, keyboard. Yep, 2 Hands Judgment. I started at 1, it became 2. Whoops, I wrote 3. Sorry. 2 Hands Judgment. I expected a lot of Targaryen and a lot of Lannister. We had 2 Targaryen players. One of them dropped after the first round. We had 7 Lannisters, apparently 6 of which were Lanny Rose. I did not go against a single one. I played Barafealty, Barrisson, Greyjoy Fealty, in that order. Which I think was a really good test of the deck, but not a good enough test because I would have liked to go against Targ and I would have liked to go against Lanny, just to get a better idea on the matchup. But yeah, no, it hit Seed in Flames, it hit We Do Not Sow, it's intended to hit Treachery, it's intended to hit Dracarys. I think with the top houses being set up the way they are, I think this has become a pretty well mandatory card in most decks. Thoughts?
Oh, I agree. I mean, I think you need 3.
Yeah.
Because of the reasons you just mentioned. It's difficult, especially when you want to guarantee yourself to at least see 1, and to guarantee you're able to stop that 1 Dracarys that's going to kill your key character.
Yeah. Well, I forget, if you do them, I think the math on, if you have 3 Hands Judgment, on an average, I would call 4 an average setup in this deck. 5 is not out of the question. So what is that? 14 cards seen, 13 and a half, 14 cards seen by turn 1. You probably end up with something like a 35% chance or something, like 1 in 3 that you will see a Hand Judgment turn 1. There's definitely, there are tools out. I know to go back to the second episode of Beyond the Wall, deck building tools, yeah, I think Alex talks about hypergeometric distributions, basically doing the math on what are the odds of X provided A, B, and C. So they ran the math on a deck they were building in Lannister, and like, what are the odds of having a treasure or a Things I Do for Love with a Lord or Lady out? What are the odds that you have one but not the other? And just really nifty stuff. Setup analyzers, another awesome tool. I'd like to just recommend that episode specifically, but like, no, just it's tied. I don't know what's better. White Book and Beyond the Wall are like 1A and 1B best podcasts. But yeah, anyway, this here is the deck. That's 60 cards. Again, I placed 2 and 2. I lost to Barra Fealty something 15-7. Had Stannis not been on the board, it would have been closer because I would have gotten a second use out of a big Red Viper swing. Second game was against Barra Sun, and I am so glad that game got recorded by Rob. I'm just going to say, do not miss that one when that comes out. It's one you're going to want to watch. I could not have picked a better moment or better game to showcase for a recording for this deck. It like, everything fell into place. And like, I got a huge power swing right at the end of the game to, like, it looked like it was probably going to be a loss, and then it's like, nope, huge out of nowhere. Third game, Greyjoy Fealty, I was able to get ahead really early. Fourth game, Greyjoy Fealty, kind of a rough setup, but I drug it out to turn 7. Considering the situation I was in, it's acceptable, I think. You watched most of that game. Yeah, a couple things I could have done better, definitely, but no, for the most part. Dragging that out to turn 7 in like a high, definitely the most intense game of Thrones I've ever played. Shout out to Throne Runner. That was nuts. I'm never gonna forget that game. That was huge. But no, the deck was awesome. Other than what we discussed, I think this is fairly, yeah, no, it's not much to change, really. But now I'd like to just focus on the plots a little bit, because I haven't mentioned them at all yet, but got them on screen now. I'd have to change too much on my setup to get them to display the way I had them before, so I'm just going to list them off. I think this is as standard as it gets. I don't think there's really any debate as to what happens, or like Noble Cause, Building Orders, Calling the Banners, Como Westeros, March to the Wall, Summons, and the Long Plan. The only like right now, I don't think this is going anywhere. If more people pick up all the big attachments out of the recent set, maybe Building Orders for Confiscation makes a return. I don't like Confiscation, but maybe it makes a return. Once the next pack comes out, I think it's no middle ground, but once First Snow of Winter comes out, I think that might go in this deck. Despite the big glut of 2 and 3 costs, they're not too hard to get out of them again, and a few of them actually have like fairly beneficial abilities. Like, I don't mind getting Aereo bounced back to my hand with Arianne in the game. I don't mind getting a Green Blood Trader back to my hand. Yeah, your thoughts on the plot deck?
It's standard. I don't think I'd get rid of Building Orders.
Yeah? What would you go with?
It's too... There's
Yeah,
too many one-ofs that you have, especially attachment-wise. Even if the two-ofs, Sometimes you need those attachments, and
Yeah. No, you're
I
right.
mean, you've got a Tears in your hand and you don't have the attachment for it. Well, you need to go find out.
Yeah. No, you're
Especially
right.
if there's a time when in play you want to kill him before he gets duped.
So what would you theoretically first Snow Winter comes out? What would you cut for it? Would you even play it?
I think I would cut Calm
Yeah.
potentially, or Marched. If you're running first Snow, I don't think Varys is as important. So if you not don't have Varys in your deck, you can cut Marched.
No, it'll take some testing out. When first Snow comes out, I'll probably run a version that's very highly tuned towards being cheap. At that point, maybe I drop Noble Cause and run in like Counting Coppers or second summons just to so I can flood the board. But no, I'd run a version that's highly tuned toward being mini curve. I'd run a version that's average-ish, and then I'd run a version without it, and just see what performs best. Anyway, I think there's not much else that needs to be said about the deck. I think we're like an hour here. That's a long deck, or a long video. And I think, well, no, there's like 6 minutes of digging around at the start. So, closing thoughts. I think I've said with my anecdotes and all that, pretty well anything that I would need to say about this deck has come up. How about you? Either your experience playing against it, watching me play it, going through this discussion here of justifying everything I did, and obviously you have your ideas for how to tweak it, but
Well, that's exactly it. I think that it does need a little bit of tweaking. But is that tweaking going to be good? It's just play testing. And I think in the next few weeks we might be able to have a better idea of what needs to change and whatnot. But it's a solid base, so if anyone wants to build this deck and playtest it themselves, they'll be able to.
Right. Maybe one thing to talk about, the initial draft I had of the deck. I'm just going to list the changes that were made. So initially I did not have Varys. I had a random Doran and a random Bodyguard. Well, Bodyguard not so random. I'm happy I made the change over to Varys. I don't think Doran would have done anything this game.
And Bodyguard had like 5 targets.
Yeah, that's the thing. Bodyguard has so few targets. Same with Doran, for that matter. Doran has 3 targets. One of them probably will not be in play very long. I don't know. It was let's see the one and see what happens. I know he was like an easy cut.
You had the 3 pile Spearman, which you cut one.
Yeah, no, Obara. I just typed that down. Minus Obara plus Spearman. Again, that's a little thing. Maybe First Snow changes that up again. And another one.
Doran's game for Hand Judgment.
I had one Hand Judgment and I had a Doran's game. I pulled a win with Doran's game. And I wanted to keep it in as a recency bias. But no, I'm really glad I went with the second Hand Judgment. Even if there was a case where I could have won off a Doran's game, it's like, swag points, but I won the game anyway. It was definitely worth the changes. Alright, so anything you want to say, Jeff?
I think what's been said is all needed to be said. Between now and mid-March is when the next chapter pack and the um, Stark box come
Oh
out.
yeah, it's next month, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Like obviously you'll be looking at me sort of Starfall to try that in the deck.
Yeah.
I think he's going to actually be pretty good for the deck.
At that point, with the second target, do we run here to surf?
I think that's a plan. But the thing is, because of the economy, I don't know. Do you cut the first snow of winter? Do you cut 4 for snow of winter, or do you cut 4 here to serve? That's going to be the main question.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you cut? Long plan, maybe. Summons, maybe. Because that and here to serve essentially do the same thing.
Yeah, so, I don't know. It's playtesting.
Exactly. It's going to be fun times.
Yeah. Any shoutouts before any props or slops?
I'm hoping to see Rich's Lannister no agenda become Lannister Lord of the Crossing. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, no, he's already running no agenda. I think Lord of the Crossing might be the logical step forward. I don't know.
There was a couple of drops today, and
yeah.
And one of the people that come all the way from Montreal played 2 rounds, I think, and
yeah, no, that's right. I did realize he wasn't there by the end. I didn't know if he was just bathroom for a bit, but like when top 4 started, I noticed he wasn't there.
No, yeah, he finished when he lost his second game. He ended up leaving.
Oh.
Understandable. Playing a deck like Tyrell, Lord of the Crossing.
Oh, was he playing Tyrell Lords?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. I didn't know anyone else was playing Lords.
It's new, and I think he was playing Knights as well. So it's going to be difficult.
Oh, wow.
But
no, I mean, no idea.
Playing an untested deck is obviously you'll have issues.
Yeah.
But I think that's all we have to say about that.
Yeah, no, I think this wraps up this deck discussion. I don't even know what you want to call it, but very long-winded. You're hearing 2 guys talk for an hour. But some people are into that because podcasts are a thing. Alrighty, I think this is where we're going to sign off. So I've been Ren Hero.
And I'm qqGreyGoose.
Alright, take it easy, guys. Thanks for getting this far. Unless you just skipped to the end and heard this in the past 20 seconds. Go back and watch the video. Cheater.